Welcome to the Daily History Podcast, where we dive into the tides of time, unraveling the most incredible moments that have shaped our world. In today's episode, the Hindenburg Disaster, the end of the airship era, we will take you back to a pivotal moment in aviation history that left an indelible mark on the world. Stay with us as we set sail on a voyage through time to understand the grandeur and the tragedy of the Hindenburg. Picture, if you will, an airborne leviathan gracefully navigating the skies. This was the Hindenburg, among the largest airships ever crafted by the hands of humankind, a behemoth of aviation in a time when the romance of air travel was in its golden age. Unveiled to the awe of the world in 1936 by Germany, the LZ-129 Hindenburg was an engineering marvel, stretching an immense 245 meters in length and towering at 41 meters tall. Inside the hull of this floating titan was a spectacle of opulence that rivaled the finest ocean liners. Aglow with the soft light reflecting off polished aluminum and burnished wood, passengers could luxuriate in the well-appointed cabins or lounge in the ship's vast common areas that included a dining room, a smoking lounge, and even a bar with a specially designed lightweight aluminum piano. Large slanting windows adorned the sidewalls, offering panoramic views of the world below, as the elite of the age indulged in the novelty of air travel, crossing the Atlantic in a mode that was not just swift, but swathed in prestige and luxury. Crossing the ocean in the Hindenburg was an experience akin to journeying in a floating palace, with the journey from Europe to the Americas taking a mere 2.5 days, a fraction of the time required by traditional steamships. The airship's passengers were treated to gourmet meals served on fine china, their taste buds tantalized by delicacies prepared by top chefs as the landscape below shifted from continents to seas. Such lavishness in the sky would mark an era where travel transcended mere moving from one place to another. It became an event, a testament to human ingenuity, promising a future where the skies were not the limit, but the path to a world of progress and luxury. News of the Hindenburg's departure from Frankfurt, Germany, on the evening of May 3, 1937, crackled across the airwaves. The LZ-129 Hindenburg, a colossal flying machine, stretched nearly the length of 3 football fields and towered as a behemoth of the skies. This journey promised to be routine, the first of a busy season, ferrying passengers and mail across the Atlantic in a mere 2 days, a journey which, at times, had taken ships a week or more. Crowds often looked to the skies, marveling at the airship, but on this trip, the Hindenburg carried 36 passengers and 61 crew members, smaller than usual, suggesting an air of uncertainty in the industry. It navigated eastward meanwhile, simple routines played out aboard. Meals in the dining room, glances through the large observation windows, and hushed conversations filled with anticipation. After crossing the Atlantic and overflying Boston, the airship was buffeted by strong headwinds as it approached its destination, the Lakehurst Naval Air Station in New Jersey. On May 6th, the skies over Lakehurst were ominous, filled with storm clouds and charged with electricity. Conditions caused commanders on the ground and Captain Pruss aboard to delay the Hindenburg's landing. Multiple landing attempts were aborted. The airship was thrust into a holding pattern, circling impatiently as the hours ticked by. Tension mounted, both among the well-heeled passengers longing to disembark and the practiced crew determined to ensure a safe landing. As the skies cleared late in the afternoon, a window of opportunity appeared. The crew was poised to execute a high landing, known as a flying moor. Beneath them, the ground crew at Lakehurst readied themselves, eyes skyward, hands prepared to grasp the landing ropes that would soon be thrown down. It was just after 7 p.m. that day when the Hindenburg made its final approach. It was a delicate dance between the airship and the ground crew as the Hindenburg dropped its landing ropes and began the arduous process of mooring. But then, an unforeseen spark ignited the hydrogen that kept the floating Leviathan aloft, and within moments, the Hindenburg was engulfed in a ferocious inferno. As the Hindenburg approached the Lakehurst Naval Air Station in New Jersey on the 6th of May, 1937, the excitement of those aboard was palpable. Passengers pressed against the windows, eager to catch a glimpse of their destination. The ground crew readied themselves, securing ropes and equipment to usher in the LZ-129 Hindenburg for a routine docking. It was just before 7 p.m. when the unthinkable happened. An abrupt inferno enveloped the tail of the airship. In moments, the sky giant was ablaze, the fire consuming the hydrogen-filled behemoth in a horrendous conflagration. Spectators watched in horror as flames surged through the dirigible's framework, reducing the source of so much wonder to ash and twisted metal. It took a mere 34 seconds for the Hindenburg to fall from the sky, crashing into the earth with screaming passengers and crew trapped inside its burning carcass. The human cost was abominable. Of the 97 souls on board, 36 perished alongside one worker on the ground. The disaster also wounded many more, marring both bodies and spirits. The tragedy was punctuated by voices calling out for loved ones amidst the chaos, the air punctured by the roar of flames and the cries of the wounded. Survivors stumbled from the wreckage, their clothes aflame, their skin marred by burns. Even in such dire circumstances, among the chaos blossomed acts of valiant courage. Heroism was not in short supply that day, as the ground crew and nearby personnel sprang into action. Without thought for their own safety, they rushed towards the inferno. These brave souls pulled people from the burning debris, smothered flames, and rendered aid to those whose lives hung in the balance. Their gallantry likely saved countless individuals from a fiery demise, a testament to human kindness even in the face of overwhelming catastrophe. This gut-wrenching episode in the annals of history was not merely a disaster, it was an undeniable display of humanity. Through the smoke and sorrow, the story of the Hindenburg remains a dual narrative of human frailty and our boundless capacity for courage in the face of utter devastation. Although the Hindenburg disaster occurred over 8 decades ago, the memories of that fateful day continue to resonate. They serve as a somber reminder of the risks that accompany innovation and the indomitable spirit that defines us even amidst disaster. The Hindenburg disaster did not culminate in silence. Rather, it sparked a global frenzy as news organizations rushed to cover the tragedy. Within hours, the airwaves were brimming with reports of the catastrophe, and newspapers ran bold headlines that captured the world's shock and horror. The image of the inferno, the gargantuan zeppelin consumed by flames, became an indelible icon in the public consciousness. In the days that followed, the disaster occupied the front pages of major newspapers across continents. Radio broadcasts brought the harrowing eyewitness accounts into homes, giving a voice to the disbelief and sorrow that spread further than the smoke of the burning airship. The immediacy of the media coverage made the Hindenburg disaster one of the first to be witnessed almost instantaneously around the globe, shaping public perception on an unprecedented scale. The Hindenburg had been a symbol of human achievement, a floating palace that graced the skies. Its demise, so swift and spectacular, became a symbol of vulnerability. Trust in airship travel waned significantly. People began questioning the safety of hydrogen-filled dirigibles. The spectacle of luxury and progress was now overshadowed by a stark reminder of the risks involved in pushing the limits of technology. The public, once captivated by the majesty of airships soaring above, were left to ponder the future of aviation. The debates raged. Should airships continue to sail the skies, or was it time to set them aside for good? Safety regulations came under scrutiny, and the clamor for more stringent measures grew louder. The Hindenburg disaster became a turning point, a cautionary tale that would guide the future of air travel. In every corner of the world, the loss of the Hindenburg resonated, marking the end of an era. Gone were the days of romanticized airship voyages. In its place arose a sobering realization of the fragility of such endeavors. The legacy of those who perished and the lessons learned from that fateful day in May 1937 would echo through time, deeply etched into the narrative of aviation history. The Hindenburg disaster of the 6th of May 1937 was much more than a catastrophic accident. It represented a tipping point in the history of aviation. As the flames consumed this once majestic airship, the entire era of lighter-than-air travel seemed to burn away with it. The public's faith in dirigibles, already wavering, was gutted by the searing images of the Hindenburg's destruction. In the aftermath of the disaster, fierce debates ignited regarding the safety and viability of airships. The image of the Hindenburg, a hulking giant brought down to the ground in a mere 34 seconds, was etched into the collective consciousness of a shocked world. It was clear that the risks inherent in airship travel, highlighted by the inability to control highly flammable hydrogen gas, were simply too great. Although some tried to revive the technology by proposing the use of non-flammable helium, the scarcity and cost of the gas posed significant barriers. Meanwhile, advancements in airplane technology were occurring at a breakneck pace. The 1930s saw significant improvements in aerodynamics, engine performance, and materials science. Commercial aviation was taking off as airplanes, now safer, faster, and more reliable, began to dominate the skies. Advancements such as the introduction of metal skin for aircraft and retractable landing gear exemplified the rapid development of the time. The Douglas DC-3, which made its maiden flight in 1935, became a symbol of the new era, revolutionizing air travel with its efficiency and introducing the concept of comfort in the sky. While airships could take days to cross the Atlantic, airplanes like the DC-3 promised to cut that time significantly, making them far more convenient for passengers and cargo alike. It was these advancements that truly marked the swan song for airships, relegating them to the annals of history while the airplane ascended. The shifting landscape of aviation, the changing needs of the modern world, and the lasting shock of the Hindenburg calamity together created an environment where airships had no place. As a result, the dream of passenger airship travel slowly dissipated, much like the hydrogen once held within the great German Zeppelin. And so, the era of grand airships came to a quiet end, not with a wistful goodbye, but rather with an unceremonious ushering in of more advanced, practical, and ultimately safer forms of air travel. The skies would no longer be graced with the gentle giants of the Zeppelin age, but instead would welcome the roar of the airliners, the new workhorses of the skies, bridging continents and cultures at unprecedented speeds. The Hindenburg disaster, though tragic, ushered in a period of rigorous safety regulations and innovations that would come to define modern aviation. The demise of airships and the subsequent rise of airplanes reflect humanity's relentless pursuit of progress and safety, even in the face of profound loss. The echoes of the past have given way to the thunderous progress of aviation as we know it today, all while reminding us of the lessons learned from those that came before. The Hindenburg Disaster, a tragedy that unfolded in the skies above Lakehurst, New Jersey, has been etched into history not only as a monumental heartbreak, but also as a significant turning point in our perpetual quest for safer travel. Since that ill-fated day on May 6, 1937, the world has seen various forms of remembrance and commemoration. Memorials have been erected at the site of the crash and in the hometowns of the passengers and crew who lost their lives. Historical documentaries and educational programs keep the memory of the airship alive, each retelling the narrative with a respectful nod to its importance. Even in pop culture, references to the Hindenburg often remind us of the frailty of human endeavor against the forces of nature. But perhaps the most far-reaching impact of the Hindenburg disaster lies in its powerful influence on transportation regulation and safety. In the immediate aftermath, the use of hydrogen as a lifting gas was scrutinized and subsequently banned for passenger flight, catalyzing a shift to helium and other non-flammable alternatives for lighter-than-air craft. Aviation authorities around the globe began to overhaul safety protocols, making the disaster a case study in risk management and emergency preparedness. The shadow of the Hindenburg also loomed over the advancement of other transportation technology. The disaster underscored the growing reliability and safety of fixed-wing aircraft, which soon became the standard for commercial aviation. Air travel, as we know it today, owes much to the lessons learned from the ashes of the Hindenburg, lessons that have undoubtedly saved countless lives in the decades since. As we continue to innovate and reach for the stars, we do so standing on the shoulders of those who learned the hard truths of our shared past. Thank you for joining us on this historical journey through the skies. The Hindenburg disaster not only marks an end, but also a beginning, teaching us invaluable lessons and propelling us towards safer horizons. If this episode has ignited your curiosity, we invite you to comment below with your thoughts and suggestions for future topics. The theme with the most likes will receive special consideration for our next exploration. Remember to subscribe to our channel for more riveting stories from history. Until next time, keep soaring on the wings of knowledge.